time. Okay, welcome on here. What we're going to be learning today in here is all the steps that I do to run my paper called Business. It's a series of trainings, and today we're actually going to be doing not the on page, that's what we did last time, we're doing the off. We're going to be doing and getting started on the off page. The off page is a much larger topic, so we'll be able to get into quite a bit of it here, but certainly not all of it, but I'll follow it in logical order. So I'll stick around like I did the last 2 times for at least an hour, answer all the questions that I possibly can on that end of it, and then I will go ahead and get started here. So there's a lot of twos on here. The reason I asked one of them was because I gave a short background on myself on the first two. I didn't want to bore everybody with it again, so I'll run through it really quickly on here. But basically, if you know what I learned not too long ago, and you'll kind of, if you have no idea what these pictures are doing here, you'll learn in just a second on that. But I've learned that if you want to do something different in life, you got to start doing different things all the time. Anyways, so that was my home. That was my mobile home. Not too long ago, and I lived in the back seat of that car. It's a 1982 Mercedes diesel, really robust cars, and the cool thing about them is that you can easily convert them over from running from diesel fuel to vegetable fuel, and I had an arrangement with a local restaurant where I would pick up their vegetable oil, which normally they'd have to pay somebody to dispose of, and I would offer to pick it up for free, and I would use it as fuel. Anyways, I had a lot of issues back then, and that's not too long ago. That was back in 2008. At the time, I was 41 years old. So anybody's on the call who thinks it's too late to turn your life around, that's certainly not the case. You can do it anytime you make the decision. But I came across surfing the internet one night, and I was actually just borrowing the internet. I was outside of a Starbucks, and it was closed, but they still have their internet on, and I was parked out front, and I was just sucking off of their free internet. And I was going through the internet, and I found a contest. It was a fitness and transformation contest. It was by Bill Phillips. And so I thought, what the heck, I'll enter the contest. And one of the main reasons I entered is because there was a first prize of $50,000. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to lose some weight and kind of transform my life. Anyways, I ended up winning that contest. I got the $50,000. I got in Bill Phillips' best-selling book, Transformation. And that really turned things around. That was a complete turning point for me. I kind of describe my life as before I met Bill and afterwards. And I got in his speaking circuit, so I spoke all over the country at his transformation events. I shared the stage with celebrities like Paula Abdul. Her and I used to do regular speaking engagements together. And she has an amazing transformation story herself, so she's a pretty neat lady. But anyways, I started hanging around with all these really rich people, like obviously Bill Phillips, Paula Abdul, and kind of Bill's kind of whole crew there, Joe Polish, and a lot of other really amazing people. And I thought, you know what, I've lost all this weight. I lost over 60 pounds. And why not transform my physical, not just my physical, but my financial. And so I started, while I was doing these speaking tours, I started a offline business where I was catering to offline businesses, bring them online. I was doing everything for them. I was doing their SEO, I was doing their Google Places, I was doing their site optimization, their conversion rate, their Google AdWords. It was a lot of work, and it was too much. You want to specialize, and that's not what I was doing. But the first year in business I made, that's my personal tax returns, I made $1.6 million. And then I got quite a bit of notoriety because of that within the industry. And I got a phone call one day from Dan Kennedy's office. And I had no idea who Dan Kennedy was at the time, and I was living in Arizona, and he was in Ohio, and it was wintertime, and wintertime in Arizona is warm, and wintertime in Ohio it's it's snowing sideways, and so I said no, thank you, and I hung up the phone. I got a call back later from someone else within his office saying, hey, maybe you don't know who Dan Kennedy is, but he charges like $20,000 a day just to do one-on-one consultations. And if you come down and be a part of his television program, he'll spend an entire day with you, consulting with you about your business. And so I Googled him. Anyways, I ended up going down there, and it was really life-changing. Anyways, that's the story. And that's the picture of me and Dan Kennedy in the studio. And then I got invited to Mike Keening's Digital Cafe. I was talking about my offline business, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, let me get down to what my business really is for those of you who don't know. It's just a better form of what it used to be back in 2009. And that is, I don't do everything for my clients anymore. In fact, that although I made a ton of money, I learned two huge lessons from that again completely changed my life. Some people look at that and go, oh, $1.6 million, that's life changing. It is. But all I could focus on was the $500,000 in taxes that I paid. And that's a whole nother story, but that's one way that it changed my life, because I then looked at ways to legally pay the least amount taxes, close to zero as possible. In order to do that, I had to move out of the United States. So hence, I don't live in the United States anymore, but I save, almost $1 million a year in taxes. So, but I don't anyways, that's a whole other side topic. So in a combination of that, and then my business was driving me absolutely crazy because we were doing way too much for the customers and the clients, and I really wanted to scale it more, grow it more. And so I just boiled it down to, what do the customers actually want? They just want their phone to ring. That's all they want. They don't care about the SEO. They don't care about the AdWords, budget, none of that stuff. And so, I thought it would be great if I could just deliver them that, and I wouldn't have to deal with, them having to check with the other owner. Sometimes it's a family business, and then there's, there's usually some kind of website guy I got to deal with, and he's threatened by his job. He feels like I'm going to take it. It's just really slow process to change anything in a business. I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I just had my own site? I could change it and optimize it the way I know best how. I could test it. So long story short, I started just selling the leads, and I do a pay-per-call business. And I've got a software that's just built for my business. I got now 3 full-time programs on it for the past 5 years. And that's all we do. We just automate it. Rarely does my company ever talk with the customer. We model it more after kind of Google AdWords. If you open up a Google AdWords account, it's pretty self-explanatory, and they make it kind of tough to be able to just kind of pick up the phone and call. So anyways, this is just 4 sites right here that we started at the beginning of the year. These sites are ranking on basically on the bottom of page 1, the top of page 2. It's not a real lucrative niche, but it's 4 sites. And at the end of October, it brought us, you can see the numbers there, a little over $2,000, almost $3,000. But I think that's a pretty realistic example that a lot of people can wrap their minds around and say, oh, yeah, that seems realistic. We have over 3,000 sites, and these are some of our others on here, but I don't think it's really realistic for a lot of people, especially if you haven't made any money online. But this is just actually one site, and that's $16,000 of revenue in October. And it's just selling just the phone calls. That's all it is. And our system automates everything. The billing, the customers log into their back end. They can listen to the phone calls. It's just all automated. It's kind of like, we tried to model as close to Google AdWords as we can. Instead of they're selling clicks, we're selling phone numbers. Okay. So that's what my business is. And this is part 3. And I'm going to be talking now about more of the off-page SEO. In the first series, we talked about how to select a niche, which is really, really important, because that's what you got to do first. You got to select a really good niche, and then you want to make sure your niche is scalable and all that kind of stuff. And then we talked about on-page SEO, how you set up your websites, your lead gen sites for maximum optimization, and now it's time to move to delivering some backlinks to it. But before we can get to that, we're going to really drill in deep on a topic that very few so-called SEO gurus out there do. Now, I don't sell any SEO products or courses out there, but I want you to know that some of the concepts that I'm going to share with you are based on over 3,000 sites that we have ranking on page 1 in every English-speaking country in the world. Anyways, this is proven. This is what we do. This is what works. So you might hear something that I say and you might think to yourself, oh, but that's not what this SEO guru says. Well, you know what? That SEO guru, more than likely, not all of them, but the majority of them are in the business of selling you some kind of products and stuff like that, and they don't actually rank a whole bunch of sites. That's not always the case, but just keep that in mind. So everything is based here off of hard data of what's actually working in the real world, in the local niches, which local niche marketing, SEO to rank sites is different than trying to rank like a affiliate site or an e-commerce site or something like that. So, okay. So here we go. Let me make sure that I'm just going to check I just want to check the chat box, make sure my sound doesn't cut out, nothing like that. Sometimes that happens, and I don't want to lose anybody. Yep, we're good. Okay, cool. Alrighty, back into it. Here we go. Okay, so basically what I'm going to share with you today is epic anchor text. Really important. Not a lot of people get into this topic, and people don't spend enough time understanding it. And once you understand it, it really then helps guide you into the type of backlinks that you need to do. And if you do it properly, like we talked about the on-page SEO, you need far, far, far less backlinks. Okay. All right. So anchor text can really make or break your entire SEO campaign. I've got friends in the business because we don't normally offer it as a service, so they're friends. Sometimes you can't afford to have friends, by the way. But anyways, and they don't understand why their sites or their client sites aren't ranking. You say, okay, well, we'll have our team take a look at it. And I'm telling you, 10 out of 10 times, it's because the anchor text is wrong. Not the backlinks. They got good quality backlinks. Okay, you understand you can have outstanding quality backlinks. But if your anchor texts are not on mark with what Google algorithm is looking for, it's just a bot, you're screwed. Okay, so really, really important. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly how to use your anchor text. You're going to know more about anchor text than 99% of the so-called gurus out there at the end of this on here. And you're going to be able to get really amazing links from a much smaller backlinking campaign. Okay. And if you follow this, you're also going to be able to sleep at night and rest assured that we're not doing anything that's black hatish, and that any kind of future updates with Google, I can almost guarantee 99.99% that it's not going to negatively affect you at all. And you'll understand why. This method is very safe yet extremely effective. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so just this one slide here is just to cover just the basics. I learned on our first webinar that we have some people on the phone call that have never done any kind of backlinking, and this is maybe the first time you've been looking at this kind of stuff. So I just want to cover the very basics. This will just take a second for those more experienced out there. So what the heck is an anchor text? An anchor text HTML tag looks just like this on here. You don't ever have to memorize that or even really know it. But this is the core of what it is, and what you see when you're reading an article is that little click here will be blue, highlighted blue, and you click on it, and it will take you somewhere, either somewhere within the site or off the site. So that's what an anchor text is. Why is this so important? Okay, so this is really, really important, and it has to do going back to 2012. 2012 when Penguin made its first major algorithm update, it changed text linking and, quite frankly, backlinking forever. What it did is it really did something very simple in its algorithm. Is it started targeting websites that were blatantly doing a lot of anchor texting that came from weak sites and that were clearly, see, at that time, what was recognized, and everybody in SEO knew it, is that if you could send a anchor text from just about any site, and whatever the anchor text said, that's supposedly what your site was about, and that's what your site should be ranking for. Google's algorithm since then has grown leaps and bounds, 10,000 times more sophisticated. And so now back in 2012, they just basically said, look, if you're sending back a whole bunch of keywords in your anchor text and it's not natural looking, we're going to now create link profiles for every single site, and we're going to study your link profiles. The bot is, right? The bot's going to study your link profile, and if it starts to look like it's being, you're trying to game the system, we're gonna put you in the bad bucket. Basically, you're going to be, beyond page 10 or 100. So this is where I was saying earlier, you can have the best backlinks, you can spend a tremendous amount of money and effort in getting to just like the perfect backlink. But if your anchor texts are not on target, Google's like, you're gaming the system. You're out of here. So they did all this by anchor texting. They basically, their first major change was done all with anchor text, because I mean if you had a site, like Payday Loans, that's a good example because they got pegged hard. Payday Loans, which I think is just only in the States and in Canada, but they were using almost, back in 2012, they had almost, like 80% of their backlinks were just their keywords that they wanted to rank for. And Google slapped them hard on that. So you just can't do that anymore. So we're going to talk about what you can do, and I hope at this point it makes sense. This is part of the algorithm now. If they see too many anchor texts that's just trying to shove it down the search engine's throat, this is what this site is supposed to be like, this is what we want to rank for, they're just going to kick you out. Okay, so let's continue on here. So here's exactly how it works. You build a backlink. So let's say you build a backlink from a private blog network. We'll talk a little bit about those today. You had a hard-earned private blog network. You send it back to your site. Then Google will index that backlink. It can take a while to index. They will index it so it shows up in the search engines. And then Google will place all of your backlinks into a database. Okay, and they start to form a link profile. So they know where all of your links are coming from, and they build an entire profile from your links. And from that algorithm, they're gonna be able to look at it and say, have you been gaming the system? Are you trying to game it or not? Now the truth of the matter is that everybody's gaming the system. It's just that we have to play this game as, can we game the system so that we look natural? That's the game. Do you want to game the system and not look natural? Then you're going to get penalized. Do you want to game the system and look natural? Then you're going to get rewarded. That's the game we play. No matter how ridiculous it is, that's what we do. Because if you're on page 1, you can make hundreds and thousands of dollars on that. Okay, and so there's a lot of money involved. Okay, so this is how Google easily spots artificial backlinks, and they'll just penalize you and just push you right back to the end. And again, I've seen countless over the years, especially the last 3 years, friends and colleagues, sites or client sites, and it's pretty much the same thing every single time. They're just over optimizing, it's over spammy, and you look at the backlink profile, and it's just like, you're kidding me? This is why you can't rank for it, And to try to dig yourself out of that is really hard. Okay, so I'm going to now talk about, and I'll have a replay for this available, and next to the replay, I'll have these slides on a PDF that you can download. There's actually going to be quite a bit of information on these slides that you're probably going to want. So there's different types of anchor text. So I'm going to talk about the different types of anchor text. We're going to go through those. I'm going to give examples of them. And then towards the end, I'm going to show you how I break up those anchor texts as far as the percentage of each one of those goes. Okay, and that's what we do. This is what we do with our sites. So this is real world working today. So anyways, branded anchors. Okay, so what is a branded anchor? This is a branded anchor on here. So this is assuming that the company name would be Plumber Brothers LLC. Okay, so Plumbing Brothers Limited Liability Company. So that's a branded anchor text. Okay, so somewhere in a paragraph or some content, they would have this link in here, and it would basically be the name of the company. Okay, so those are branded anchor texts. Really important. So let's take a look at some examples of those. This is an example of a branded anchor text that's 54% of their backlinks, and it's Best Buy. Best Buy is in the U.S., Canada, and I don't know if it's anywhere else, but it's in UK too. But if you're from somewhere else, it's maybe not be there. But Best Buy is just like a big electronics store. And so they've got the 41%, that's Best Buy with the space between the best and the buy, so it's two separate words, and then Best Buy together as one word is 15%. But anyways, combined is over 50%. And you see, Google's been very clear that they really want companies and sites to start creating a brand name. So they'll reward you for doing this. For Google, in Google's world, and that's what we're playing in, and under their rules, this is what's cool, okay? Your company name, whatever it is going to be the majority of your backlinks. And this is one study I could have pulled up. I could have pulled up 1,000 more websites that are authority websites that are ranking well, some household names, some non. They all follow the similar patterns on here. Whether by accident or not, I don't know, but they do, and they're all ranking or they're top Alexa rankings, okay? So it's really, you really want to follow it, okay? So this also brings me up to another point for those of you who watched the second series, the last video, one of the things about the on-page things we talked about when you purchase a domain. This is another reason why I would not purchase a keyword-rich domain, because normally the kind of so-called name or branding of your company is going to be the same as your URL. And if you start, branding your name and your name of your company, say you found, Chiropractor Phoenix or something, and all of a sudden, okay, I got that domain name, great. Now the name of the company is Chiropractor Phoenix, and that's going to be the anchor text. That's way too spammy. Then everything I say here will not work. Okay, it's just that now it's not that keyword-rich domains don't work. It's just that they're about 20 times more susceptible to slipping into the spammy anchor text bucket, because it's not being human reviewed. This is a bot. And it's just too easy to slip over. Okay, so I would recommend not getting keyword-rich exact match domains. Okay, it just doesn't look good. Google doesn't like it, and it just flies in the face of everything that I'm showing you here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So another type of we just looked at branded anchor text, and another type of anchor text to be aware of and that you want to get in your mix is your brand plus a keyword. Okay, so what does that mean? So the anchor text would look something like this. So this would be for a company called Auto Guys. So my domain name should be autoguys.com. Okay. And I'm basically, Auto Guys is in the business of buying cars for cash. It's actually quite a big business. So one of their main keywords is cash for cars. So I'm combining the brand All of this would be anchor text, okay? I should have made it all blue, but this entire sentence would be, this entire sentence would be the anchor text. So it would be cash for cars. That's my keyword anchor text. Plus by Auto Guys. Here's another example. Auto Guys, which is my brand, right? Plus keyword. Auto Guys pay cash for your car. Probably not a proper sentence, but you get the idea. Here's another one. Piano mover. If you're in the piano moving business, that's going to be your main keyword. I mean, that's the one that's going to bring you the absolute most searches every month. I'm not in that niche, but I'm pretty sure of that. So that's the main keyword. And then the branding is the name. And I'm just saying in this example, the name would be 4 guys and a truck. So I couldn't think of anything better than that, but I didn't want to come up with something like, you know, piano truck moving guys or something like that. It's just too spammy. Okay. Alrighty. So here's another one. Emergency dentist. That's the main keyword. All right. And the name or the brand of the company is 24-Hour Tooth Doctor. Okay. It's a 20-hour tooth doctor. That's the branding. And the main keyword is the emergency dentist. That's what they really are. It's an emergency dentist clinic. And so in all of these sentences here, the entire sentence would be the anchor text. Okay? And so we've got our brand, anchor text. Now this is brand plus a keyword. Okay, very important. So let's take a look at some other ones. LSI anchors, which is, I'm sure you've heard this before, just a latent semantic indexing. That's what LSI stands for. Really, all that means on that is that it's just a variation of your main keyword. Okay, and these are really important to do. Okay, so this is not based off of theory. This is based off of studying other sites that are ranking for, not 1 or 2 or 5 words, but they're ranking some of them for up to 25,000 words on page 1. So this is really what you need to be doing here. So here's, if I'm in the cash for cars business, in other words, I'm basically looking for people who are kind of down and out and need kind of emergency money, and they need to sell their car like now. They can't wait for it to be in the paper for 2 to 3 weeks. And it's actually a very big business. Then cash for cars is going to be my main keyword. That's one that's going to get the most searches per month. So if I'm targeting for this, the LSIs in that or similar keywords related to that would be cash for clunkers, sell your car today, tow cars for cash. So where did I find these LSIs and where can you? The good news is it's super easy and very effective, and Google tells you what they are. So this is how you find them. You just go into your, I'm going to grab a drink of water here. You just go into Google Keyword Planner, which is what this screenshot is. And I typed in the keyword cash for cars. And then I've got right down below that, under the keyword ideas tab, I've got keywords by relevance. Okay. Those are my LSIs. Those are my similar keywords, and I can download the list. Now let me show you just for this one keyword, and somebody in this niche would have at least 5 or 6 other main keywords, but just for this one keyword, let me pull up the file that I got, because I want to show you that you'll never be at a shortage for these. So this is what I downloaded from there. There's 801 similar keywords. Some of them are not going to be relevant, but buy junk cars for cash, definitely an LSI. Pick up junk cars, definitely an LSI. Get cash for my car, definitely LSI. Cash is for car in Delaware, no. People who buy junk cars, definitely an LSI. See what I'm saying? 1-800 cash for cars, nah, that's not gonna get. Scrap your car, no. Buy junk cars for cash, yes. Cash cars in Arlington, no. Used car buying, yeah, maybe. Yep. We buy junk, nah. But there's 801 just relevant off of that one keyword. And you can see how there's going to be quite a bit here. Sell my car for cash today. We pay cash for junk cars. Let's see here. Donate your car for cash. Okay, so I think you get the idea. Not all of them on here are going to be perfect LSIs, so those are not the ones that you want to use. You want to use the ones that are as closely related to the meaning or a similar meaning to cash for cars or whatever your main keyword is. And this is just one keyword. You should probably have, if you were attended the second series, you should be shooting for 5 main keywords that are going to be the top searches in your area. Get cash for cars. That's another good one. Tow my car for cash. I think we've seen that one twice. Anyways, that's it. Unwanted cars for cash. Okay, they're just. This is a really good list. Super easy to do. You just type in your keyword and then you just download it. Boom, you're done. So, alrighty. So let's go ahead and continue on here. When I do get done with this, I will answer the questions. So if you got some burning questions, know that I'll get to it. Alrighty, so let's continue on here. So now we have another type of anchor text, and this is long anchor text. So let's look at what is long anchor text. This would be a long anchor text. This entire sentence. We pay cash for cars. Now, cash for cars is the main one, right? That's the main anchor text. That's the keyword in this example that gets the most searches. We pay cash for cars 7 days a week. Call us. This entire sentence would be the anchor text. So that's a long anchor text. We tow your old car and pay cash for cars. So that's another one. Exact match anchors. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So this is your main keywords. Cars for cash. That's that for example would be a keyword that would give me the most searches per city, for example. So cash for cars. On that. Cash for clunkers might be my second keyword that gives me the second most searches per month. Okay, so that's my exact. Okay, so another one. Now this is one concept on anchor text that I don't know of anyone that talks about it. I haven't seen it anywhere, but I haven't seen everything, right? So, but this one's really important. So pay close attention to this because we found this to be highly effective. So this is what now we're going to look at. This will be the final type of anchor text, and then we'll summarize them and look at the percentages. Anchor text with nearby exact match keywords. So anchor text, so an anchor with a nearby exact match keyword. So let's take a look at some examples. This is a really advanced topic. I've purposely gone out with several examples so that by the time we get to the second, third example, hopefully everybody would have gone, aha, I got it. So the idea behind it is that you want to surround your anchor text with your highest targeted keywords. Okay, your keywords that give you the most searches. Now keep in mind, we feel like we developed this. I don't know if anyone else is doing this or not, but we do this technique because you can't just go out and say, okay, every single anchor text is going to be cash for cars or cash for clunkers. In this example, which would give us the most searches, because those are 2 main keywords. Can't do that anymore because the algorithm's just going to spam you and say bye-bye. Go back to the line on page 10,000. Okay, so this is our work around it, and this works really well, and there's no issues whatsoever that Google has with it. So this will be our target keyword. Okay, that's cash for cars. Okay, this will be a generic anchor text. So our generic anchor text. What is a generic anchor text? It is click here, check this site out, go to this site, go here, all of those type of just very generic. It has nothing to do with the URL. It has nothing to do with any of the keywords, anything like that. It's just a click here's. type of thing. So we got to click here, which is a generic, our keyword. So this is what it would look like. We'd have a sentence here. We will give you the highest cash for cars. Cash for cars is one of our main keywords, but it's not an anchor text, okay? But the click here is. That's the generic anchor text. So we will give you the highest cash for cars. Click here, okay? So let's take a look at another example of how this method works by getting your keywords as close as you can to the anchor text, but not actually the anchor text. So the anchor text, nearby exact keyword. So surround your anchor text here. So our target is cash for cars again. So this would be a brand anchor text. So let's say that the company name is Auto Guys. So we'd say Auto Guys, which is the one that's anchor text there in blue, pays cash for cars. Cash for cars is the keyword, okay, is the main one that gives us the most searches. But we've got it right next to the anchor text. But an anchor text that's a little bit more friendly and that Google actually wants. And what you'll find out is when we get to the end here is that we do 50% of our anchor text is going to be your company name, your branding, okay? Or about 50%, doesn't need to be right on the money. Anchor text with nearby exact match. Let's take another look at this. Again, same keyword, but this time we're going to use a naked anchor text on here. And the naked anchor text that we've got on here is, this would be our URL, for example, cashforclunkers.com. The company name would be Auto Guys. The company name could be cashforclunkers.com, but I'm pretty conservative with that stuff, so I tend to, because the cash for clunkers, cash for car is a little too close to that. I don't want to seem spammy at all. So the sentence would look something like this: get top value for your car. We pay cash for cars, right? So there's the cash for cars. Visit here, and that's it. And this is a naked anchor text. And the naked anchor text, the HTTP / cashforclunkers.com, that would be the one that's the clickable link. Okay, really, really powerful to make sure that you do this. You can get your keywords in a lot, but you're not going to get penalized because it's not going to be the actual clickable anchor text. Okay, so it's a really good technique. Works highly, highly effective. So, all right. So, just kind of another really important point on here is that is by putting really highly relative keywords next to all your anchor texts. Google is, the algorithm's really, really smartly made. It's fully capable of understanding the relevancy of a certain link without you needing to just shove the actual keyword down. So don't just think that the Google algorithm just looks at the link, the anchor text itself, and the link going back. It's also analyzing the page which it comes from, the words around it, all of that stuff. So that's why this method of putting your main keywords that you really want to rank for tight and close to, preferably in the same sentence of your actual anchor text link, is really smart, and it works really well. Okay, so next we're going to look at the exact anchor text percentage that I use to rank these local lead gen sites. So I'm hoping that I got everything down here. I made out these slides really fast. So branded anchor text, 50%, right? We're following what all of the other major sites do out there. They're basically their company name, whatever their brand is, approximately 50%, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. The example I showed you, it was actually 54%. Is going to be that. That's nice and safe, and Google's been very public about stating that they really want their company sites, and we're talking about, this is local, right? So local sites that we're trying to rank for, so these are all going to be company sites. They really want people to get into branding. They want people to create a brand online, okay? Naked links. I just realized I didn't have a slide on naked links except for that one example. But naked links are simply the various ways that you would type up your URL. So your URL could be, http:// another one might be without the HTTP, just www.mysite.com. Another one might be www.mysite.com/. And so those are the naked links. So 25%. And this is following what the sites that are ranking really well out there today. This is a compilation of their backlinking, their anchor text, I should say, not their backlinking, but their anchor text. So far, pretty simple, right? So, I mean, you got 50% is just going to be your company name. This is why it's so important, again, not to get into, in my opinion, not to get into a really spammy, keyword-rich domain name, unless you want to have, your company name different. It just raises too many red flags with Google. Google's going to look at this, and it's a bot. If they start seeing, a lot of like keywords that they know you want to rank for, I don't think they're stupid. They know what you want to rank for. And they start saying too many of those in the domain, and then all of a sudden your company name is too close to the main keywords that you want to rank for, and now that's showing up with 50% of your backlinks. You're not going to rank. Okay, you're going to be pushed back to the end of the line. Generic anchor text, 20%. That's the click here, click now, check out this site, go here. That's what you want to do with the generic anchor text. So pretty simple. So we add those up. There's only 5% left, right? That's it. That's 5%, and this first 95% is kind of a no-brainer. It doesn't really take a whole lot of thought to do, right? But keep in mind, you want to have a anchor text strategy. Don't just loosely go through these and go, it's about 50, 25, 20. No, you want to have a strategy about how you're doing this. Is really important. We're going to delve into this strategy here in a second. But your LSI, which I showed you how to do that. You just go into Google Keyword Planner and type in your main keyword. And you can download it from Google right there. Just for the one keyword there, I had 801, probably 400 of those would have been easily good enough for an LSI. And I don't even need that many. So that and long anchor text. So we'll give some examples of those longer anchor texts. It's almost like anchor texting a sentence with a major keyword in it. Okay. And that's 1 to 5%. Now there's one more left. This is where everyone screws up. Your exact match. Less than 1%. In fact, I would go so far as to say just one anchor text, okay, for your exact match. So if my exact match, my main keyword is cash for cars, I'm going to have one anchor text going back to my site for that. And everything else is going to be the LSI plus a combination of long anchor text, generic, naked links, and branding, and one single link with my main keyword going back. Okay. It's a proven system. This is what works. The algorithms are on top of it. It's just the game that we play. And I can tell you right now that most people have got 5, 10, 20, 30% exact match of the keywords that they want to rank for. And they're doing a whole lot of other things wrong besides that. And it's just like, Google's like, nah, you're gaming us later. So let's dive in a little bit deeper into this, okay? And next we're going to talk about the type of backlinks for each of the anchor texts. Okay, this is where strategy comes to play here, right? So the type of the backlinks for each type of anchor text, okay? And then how to properly do those so that we keep out of the Google penalty box and we get up to page 1 as quickly as possible. Okay, SEO is not a speed game, but it seems to be a speed game in the wrong direction for a lot of people, which means they get pushed back in a downward spiral to the end of the line, and that's not our goal here at all. So these are really, if this is new to you, or if you didn't quite absorb all this, or if you did, this is really safe, makes a lot of sense, It's not based off of theory. It's based off of my sites, because we study other sites out there. We don't study what other gurus, so-called gurus, are saying. We just go out and study the sites that are actually working, because it's so easy to reverse engineer them. Okay. Because all the tools are available to do that these days. Alrighty, so I call them power links, and I use my power links for my exact match, my LSI, and my long tail. Okay, so this is for my 5% links, right? This is for my basically my one link for my one major keyword, my LSIs, and my long anchor text. It's 5% or less. Those are my power links. So how do I define a power link? Let's look at that, because the definition is kind of a little bit long, so I'm going to bullet point it out. But it's important to understand it. And if you really understand and wrap your mind around what I'm about to tell you, you will know for the rest of your life. I guarantee you, it's not ever going to change. Okay, you're going to know what a good backlink is. You will know forever. You'll never have a question. I wonder if that edu or that government backlink is a good link. People always say it is, so it must be. Wrong. I'm about to show you right now how you can filter through and tell every single link whether it's a power link or not. Okay, really valuable stuff. I see people make mistakes all the time, and if they just know these principles I'm about to show you right now, they'd be able to just judge for themselves right away. No, this is a crappy backlink. I don't care how much, what? PR5? I don't care. These other 5 features, it doesn't fit. It's a piece of junk. And other people look at it and go, oh, it's got a trust flow of 35. It must be really good. Or it's got a PR of 5. Must be. No, that's not it. So here we go. So what is a power link? I'm going to get into some definitions here, and I'm going to go over these. There's quite a few of them. So just kind of stick with me for a second before you kind of get stuck and go, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so a PR2, and I realize that PR page rank is going out the window, but it's still a measurable piece of data we can do today. Okay, so PR of +2, a domain authority DA of a 20 plus, and I also realize that Moz can be like months behind on the updates of their domain authority, so that's why we factor in all these things together. But so we have to take all this in together. It's not one piece by itself. So PR of a +2, domain authority, that's a DA, so I'll use DA moving forward, of a 20 plus, a page authority of 25 plus, a trust flow of 10 plus. So a site's got to have these initially to be considered, to me, a power link, where I'm going to take an exact match domain. In addition, it's got to have these other things into it, because most people will stop here. Okay, most people stop here, but this only tells half the story. This tells the full story. So these are characteristics that we're looking for in our backlinks. These are really, really important. It just makes so much sense too when I finish this. You probably heard this before, but this combined with these other things, it's like, yeah, this is where a real good link would come from. So a site level relevancy. Probably not earth-shattering to you. Probably heard that before. If you're trying to rank for, a dog site, you probably want a backlink from a similar type of niche, like a dog niche site, some kind of authority, right? So you want some kind of site relevancy. You can't always have that. That's why I call them power links. You save them for stuff like your exact match domains. Okay. Page, in addition to the site level relevancy, you want to have as much page level relevancy as possible. So if you've got a dog site and you're getting a from authority site that meets all the criteria we talked about before, the DA, the PA, and the trust flow +10, and it's got a good high PR of at least a 2 above. It meets all those, and it's the niche is relative. You got a dog site, they got a dog site, but wait a minute, your dog site is on German Shepherds, and their dog site is on poodles. Still dog site, that's okay. Then the page relevancy, you better be writing about something about how poodles and German Shepherds get along. And you better have a lot of keywords on their site and on their article about German Shepherds, and if your site, your main keyword is German Shepherd, that better be the link going back to your site. So that's what I mean by page relevancy. Okay. So it's got to be really tight. This is an ideal situation. This is not every single link, right? Because it'd be impossible to find. Particularly what I'm talking about here is an ideal situation for that one link for your main keyword. This is what you're looking for. And if I can't quite find everything here, then, but everything's pretty close, maybe I'm missing one or two of the features here, then I'll push it over to one of my LSIs or my long anchor tags. Okay. Link relevancy. Okay, so this is really important. You want to have the links coming to the site to be relevant. What do I mean by that? So I made this diagram here, obviously, and so this would be for the top is the site that in the yellow is where you're getting is like the home page. It's like where you're getting the link from. It's the site. And it's a lawyer site, so it's going to have stuff like, law, immigration, accidental attorneys, personal injury lawyers, stuff like that. So those are the kind of main keywords it's going to have on that home page. Well, the greens represent backlinks from other sites, and they should also be anchor texting and or if they have like a click here, it should be coming from a site that would rank for or have similar keywords. Okay, so in other words, it should be getting the majority of its backlinks from very relevant content. Okay, so it's a law site, should have a lot of law type backlinks coming to it. Just likewise, like your dog site, your dog poodle site should have a lot of backlinks coming to it, or not a lot. It doesn't matter how many really. If you're doing quality like this, you need very little. Should have other backlinks coming to it that are all coming from, some kind of dog type niche. Okay. Makes sense. I mean, it's not just about the theme of the page, but the theme of the page has got to be having backlinks coming to it from others that are of a similar theme. Not 100%, but similar. So that's link relevancy. Very, very important concept. A lot of people overlook that one. And it makes kind of sense when you think about it, because that's in the algorithm. It'd be very easy to say, okay, Google's looking at say a private blog network, and it's a private blog network farm, so it's selling out the links, right? And the site's got a high PR, so everything's cool there. So everyone's like, oh, it's got a high PR. It's got high trust flow. So everyone's like, oh, it's got high trust flow. It's got to be really good. It's got high page authority. So, woo, must be really good. So here's my $100. Let me put in my article and my one backlink off of your site. Thank you so much. I should be ranking on page number 1 the next day. But they didn't bother to look at the backlink profile going to the site. Or they didn't look at this, which is another thing. The characteristics of the quality of the backlink. So that's what we just looked at. Contextual. Okay, you want to make sure that and this should go without saying, everyone should know this about backlinks, but the actual content to where, your backlink should be buried inside some good content. I mean, good quality stuff that's relevant. Google's algorithm is all over. They can easily come up and tell whether an article is, well written or not. That's what they're all about, right? They want to deliver good content to their end users. That's why they're Google. That's what's made them what they are. This is key. Relevant outbound links. So we got to look at relevant inbound links coming to the site. You're getting your backlinks in, and the relative outbound links. Okay, Google's looking at all of this. Again, this is not for every single link that you get, but this is for your power ones. Okay, this is for that. Man, I can't believe Chris just told me I'm just going to get one exact match keyword, anchor text back to my site. Yes, but this is how you're going to do it. Okay. Relevant outbound links. So that means not only is Google going to be looking at, hey, the inbound links that are coming into this poodle site, they're all about dogs and stuff. So that's cool. Everything's looking good there. And the relative outbound links, well, they're going out to dog-related sites, animal shelters. Everything looks cool here to us. Very good job. High quality link. Why do you think Google does that? Because they can tell right away if it's going to be some kind of link farm site, some type of private blog network, or some type of site that's selling links. Because they'll be selling links, and all of a sudden it'll be a dog site, but now it's outbound links going to a cat site, a fish site, a plumber site. It happens, okay? A chiropractor site. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You got these backlinks coming from other dog sites. You're about poodles mostly, we can tell. But wait a minute, you got these outbound links going to chiropractor, plumber sites? Whoa, something's going on here. Are you selling links? Wait a minute. Yep, you're selling links. Penalized, and every link that goes out is penalized. Does it make sense? I hope so. All right, so a good quality link of what I'm talking about, a power link here, will produce, better results than even 1,000. I put 100 here, but 1,000 mediocre links on that. Okay. All right, we're almost done here, and then I'll get into questions. And we got a full house, so I appreciate you sticking around. Okay, so for my 1%, or really just one, maybe two, my exact match anchor text. Okay. 9 times out of 10, the most secure and best way to do it, because that's your big one, is I'm going to build my own private blog network. I'm going to buy my own age domain, and I'm going to examine not just the PR, obviously the PR, the domain authority, the page authority, the trust flow, all that kind of stuff, according to the criteria I laid out here. But in addition to that, I got to look at the anchor text that came to this site. Is this anchor text that was coming into the site, and the sites that it was coming from, was this coming from something that's gonna match my dog site about shepherds? It's got to, otherwise it's not going to fit that power link. Okay, really important. So that's why I like to do the private blog networks, because I can control that one link, or that 2 links. I can control that with 100% certainty. Okay. Otherwise, what's the other alternative is to do a guest for that one link, to offer to do a guest post or article for a site that you'd like to rank for, that you've already decided that it fits the power linking on it. Or you can buy these from places. I do have some sources. It's actually really good sources where you can just, they have so many websites out there, and they just show you the website. It's not like a secret. I know some places where you buy a backlink from, they don't even show you the domain beforehand. No, they show you the domain. You can look at it. You can do you can look at it and analyze it, make sure it's what you need. And anyways, so that's the most important one. And I would say when you're building out a site, and I know this flies in the face of what maybe you've heard out there, but I'm telling you what we're doing and what works, is that because we've already got these in place, we will send out our power link. That'll be our first link that we send out. It doesn't have to be that way, but I know I've heard people out there talk about, like, oh, you got to wait later until you do that with that exact match. Oh, that's bullshit. That doesn't work. Google has never in the history penalized you for one link, unless it's coming from some kind of banned spam type of link that's, I don't know, into Viagra and porno and all that kind of stuff, unless it's that, obviously. But other than that, one link is never going to penalize you, and you come out and just bam, put that in there, and then you know that the majority of the rest of your links are going to be your naked anchor text, the branding of your company, and just the generic ones. The click here, check this site out. You should see this place. You should visit these guys. You should visit this local business. Those kind of links, and you need to vary those up. By the way, you can't always have click here. Anyways, and a lot of times a one good link and followed with a couple others is for especially for local and with these other things here, I'm going to, okay. So here's all the sources of the backlinks on here. I mean, not all the sources, but these are the ones that we use to rank our sites. Private blog networks. And my team figured out a way, I don't know how they did it, but I don't really care. They just did it. They figured out a way to scrape and find high domain authority Web 2.0 sites, which are free, like Weebly and sites like that, that people have given up, they've abandoned, and now are available for you to take. And they're free. They don't cost you anything. And then our team goes in, finds those, changes the theme of them up to whatever themes that we're looking for. And then we use those. And those are really cost effective. Those are just time and effort to put in the articles and stuff. They're pretty simple. But so anyways, we use private blog networks according to some of the criteria that I laid out earlier. We use the high domain authority for the Web 2.0s. Those are hosted by trusted places, Weebly and WordPress and stuff like that, and Tumblr, and some of them are do follow, and some of them are no follow, which is good. You have to have a mix of those. Blog comments from relative topics. Google likes these, but not when you put in like your keyword. Just put in your company name, or but not your company name if it's a spammy keyword company name. Okay, it's really not a good idea just to have those. Just avoid the exact match domains, all that kind of stuff, because Google still views those as you're now interacting within the community. I own a dog site about shepherds, and I'm on another dog site that's that I'm commenting on, and I'm not leaving a spammy anchor text. I'm just leaving my company name, and it's very natural looking, and you're interacting with the internet community, so it all looks good. For local, a lot of people don't realize this, but Google reviews play a huge role in your rankings. A huge role. People don't even think of them as a backlink, right? But they do. Google looks at this. Okay, very, very important. Citations are another one that are really important. So you've got to do your citations, because then you just gain more trust. It's like, okay, you're acting like a business, not like a lead gen site. Which why would a lead gen site take the time to do 20 or 30 citations? Looks good. Social is really important these days. Retweets of a blog, it's really important. Facebook post and like by another Facebook, not just yours. Really, really important. Okay, I think that's it. Yep. And then there are sources out there that have paid contextual, meaning you've got a nice, good, original article, and somewhere in there you've got the type of anchor text that you need according to your anchor text strategy that we just talked about, that has a high domain authority, PR, and page. Alrighty, so before we get into questions and answers here, let me just make sure. I'll just thumb through here. Okay, we've got lots of good questions on here. I will get to these questions on here. Alrighty, so let me grab a drink of water and check the time real quick. Where are we? Okay, that's cool. So we're about an hour at the first presentation. So now I'll do questions and answers for an hour. Alrighty. Okay, I'm just going through the questions one by one here. How does your team make the initial sales call, cold call? We have a full system for that. I'll just really briefly go over it, but it's inside the actual course. Basically, we're offering 7 days of actual free leads. And then we just send the decision maker or whoever answers the phone to that page, and then that page explains everything. And there's ways that we add senses of urgency in there, letting them know that, hey, our next phone call is to your competitor, and here's their name. We're calling them next. We're only offering these leads to one person. We don't have enough for you and your competition. So whoever takes them first gets them. And it's really, really effective. We end up, if we had to call 10 people, 8 will close immediately. So usually you'll make 1 or 2 phone calls, and you're not selling anything, not asking for a credit card. Now it's really, really simple. And if somebody says, "Oh, what's the catch?" Well, there is no catch, sir. Just go to the URL. I know you're busy. I'm busy. Just go there. We have a video there that explains it and a whole questions and answers that explains everything there, so that you'll know exactly what you're getting into. I'm busy like you, so I'm going to call your competition and let them know the name of it, because it's usually somebody that's right down the street from them, and I'm going to give them the same offer. Whoever grabs it first, grabs the free leads, gets them. Extremely, extremely effective, and there's no selling to it. Anyways, there's more detail later on that. Does Google penalize for duplicate content in AdWords city to city? Nope, Richard, they don't. Okay. Does Rhonda Rush for off-page SEO now? I'm not quite sure what that means. Will we be receiving notices when the training is up on December 1st? Yes, everyone gets an email before December 1st with your personal login details. Thank you, CJ. Wanted to share with you that your customer support is stellar and awesome in caps. Thank you very much. We do pride ourselves on that, and I do appreciate that. The special pricing, Amy, is up right now. So let me just go over that, and I will get to all the questions here, going through them one by one. But this is what, if you like this kind of training and you're kind of digging this business model, this is what you can get into. This is last time I opened this up was over a year ago. It's going to be open for a limited time, and the price that you see here is actually going to be going up and then closing down. And then we'll reopen it towards the end of December, but it will be for $2,000. So basically, you get full access to our Qzx 2.0 software system. It's the same software system that I had built for my business. It does everything to automate and streamline. We're all about, can we duplicate this kind of hands-off type of approach as much as possible? Hands-off in the sense that we have to hold hand customers to the process. So it's fully automated with the billing. We have 3 types of billing types. We have a prepay, a postpay, and then a flat rate. We don't use a flat rate very often. We mostly use the prepay, and the prepay is set up such that the customer will maybe top up to $1,000 to begin with, and then every call that comes in just gets automatically deducted from there. And once they reach a certain threshold, you can customize it for each client, say at $300. Then they start receiving an SMN text, a text message to their cell phone and to their email, telling them they need to top up back up to $1,000. Otherwise, they're about to lose their leads. Very effective. So we don't have to call, nothing like that. And that ties into your PayPal account. It can be any type of PayPal account. So that it's all automated. It goes through, everyone checks their text messages, right? And it has their bill. It has the link there. They click on it, and it takes them right online. It has an invoice. It's already pre-made. They pay it. It goes right to your PayPal. We've got currently right now it's free. It's the white label program. so that when your customers log in on the back end, they have their own username, password. It's got your logo. It's on your domain, all that kind of stuff. Because it's important for them to log in and see, both for you and them. Because what you'll find is that in the dashboard, they'll be able to listen to all the phone calls. All the phone calls will be recorded. There is an option to not record them, but I would highly recommend not doing that for the following reasons. Is that even the most well-run offices usually end up missing a minimum of 20 to 25% of their calls, or they're not handled correctly, and they're not even aware of it. And that's 20 to 25% of their revenue. That can make or break a business. Okay, that's a tremendous amount, and they're always shocked by that. So that's why you have another option on there, is that every missed call will automatically, the minute it was missed, the second it was missed, will be text to whatever cell number they want it to go to. And the minute they get the text message, they just tap to call, and they can call that customer right back. Because, that's a lead, and businesses live and die by that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go over all the features here. I'll just go over some of the main ones here. It's just, this is what we use in our business. It's just, I have 3 full-time programmers. We add input features in to whatever we want that makes our business run stronger and faster, basically. We have a spam blocker on that because, especially when you set up citations, those citations are basically a right for a company to start calling you. Say, hey, we noticed you put an ad in here, blah, 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 blah. We'd like to get you to rank, and they would do all their services. That's really what that's the business that the citations are in. So you can easily just one click mark them as spam and block them. And then everyone in the Qzx community that marks a number as spam gets on everyone's system. So collectively, we reduce them down to almost nothing. So by the time you get in, you're going to have hardly any spam calls whatsoever, because we've been blocking them for you. So whatever we block, if we find a new one that comes in, and you can tell because they call on 888 numbers, and then you can tell by the recording. No, we just noticed that you weren't on page 1. Please give us. That's a spam call, right? Block, and it blocks for everybody. So, let's see here. What else do we got? That's kind of cool. There's so much stuff on here. We can pre-qualify the customer, the calls. We don't do it anymore in our business. We used to, but we don't anymore. But the feature's still there. You can say that once your customer has talked on the call for longer than longer than 60 seconds, then that's going to be charged. Any less than that it's not charged. Or you can customize that to whatever you want. I don't do that anymore. We do the minute that call rings, you get charged for it. We have different types of ways to distribute the calls out. We have the round robin, which comes in really handy if we've got a particular city that we've got a lot of leads that are coming in, and say let's say one plumber company can't handle all of our calls that come in. We're getting a lot of missed calls. Then we put them on a round robin. So the first call goes to a different plumber company, and then the second call goes to our original one, and it flip-flops back and forth, or to however many you want. Multi-ring is good when you're on the verge of customers being, they're aware that they're missing their calls. They still have to pay for them, right? But they're aware that they're missing them. Then we just get another client, and then we let both clients know that, hey, these one phone calls are going to ring in, and the first one to pick it up gets the lead. So it rings out to as many customers as you have. So. Blah, blah, blah goes on here. We have all the same international numbers that Twilio does. We built our system around Twilio. You pay the exact same price per month per phone number as Twilio. They're really inexpensive. Like the US, it's $1 a month and 1 cent per minute. That's nothing. And you just pay Twilio directly for that, and you just import Twilio's numbers in, and we've created the whole system for you just to do that with just a one touch. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And we don't put any cap on at least on these specials here, we don't put any caps on the number of phone numbers that you can manage through our system. So we just put unlimited. We basically put it at 10,000, but if anyone goes above 10,000, we just give you more room. So all the software in the world is pretty cool, but no matter how many features and stuff that it has and how well we can work it, it means nothing to you unless you know how to drive it. So you can have the fanciest car in the world, but if you don't know how to drive it correctly, it's not going to get you from point A to B. So that's where the training comes into play. So the first thing that we've got, and this is completely different because the year and a half, 2 years ago, when we did the paper called Ninja, we didn't have this, and this is what's new, December 1st, in this new program. We have a private link exchange group where everybody learns the same standard for creating a private blog network, for getting high trust authority free Web 2.0 sites, and for setting up Google Plus accounts for giving reviews without it being flagged as a fake reviewer, and also for the Facebook and the retweets. And the best way to do that is, so let's say that you needed, you started building these sites out, you needed 20 backlinks. Currently, you'd need to, if you wanted 20 power backlinks, you're going to have to build 20 different private blog networks, which is a lot of time and effort. So the way we have it set up here is you just build one, and then you can exchange up to 20 links. So basically one private blog networks equals up to 20 links exchanged within the members, within the community. And then we also exchange Facebook likes, Facebook reposts, retweets. And remember, I said Google reviews are a part of the algorithm for ranking, and a lot of people don't realize that. We know that because we see what happens when we start getting reviews. We go, okay, wow, we just got 10 reviews, and we did nothing else, and now we're suddenly the #1 site. Let's try that again. Over and over again, it works. It is part of the algorithm, and no one's talking about it. And you got to be really careful. You can't just give a review for nowhere. You got to. We show you step by step inside the course how to create an anonymous account, an anonymous IP. We're not talking with hide my ass. That's like every system out there: Yahoo, Facebook, Google. They all know. Hide my ass at the IP addresses. I'll show you when you get in the course. I'll show you. There's a site that nobody knows about that you can go to, and it shows you your proxies that you're using. Can other people tell that they're proxies or not? 99% of them, everyone can tell they're proxies. Okay, you want to use the ones that you can't tell they're proxies. Anyways, the point is that it's all systemized. Everyone's using the same guidelines, and we're all rising up together. This is really, this one I'm going to remove really fast because this is dangerous. I've had way too many people already just like, hey, can you just give this to me now? But I'll pay you double or triple. No, this is way too dangerous. And that is, as far as I know, we are the only company. There might be some other people out there, but we're probably the only ones out there in the world that know how to do a Google Plus Maps, which is now a 3-pack. So it's even more valuable than it was before a 7-pack. Is we have figured out through reverse engineering and trial and error how to rank our sites within the Google 3-pack. Because if you're number 4, you're nowhere. But if you're number 1, 2, or 3, your phones are going to easily double overnight. But then you go, wait a minute, these are lead gen sites. Don't I have to get a postcard to verify this? Nah, we figured out how you don't have to. That alone is that's a game changer. That's worth, I could probably sell it for seriously $5,000. The weekly coaching calls kind of go like, the scenario goes like this. There's usually 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning where I talk about what's relative in the industry. And then during the week, as a member, you've got a special email that you send in your questions. My team puts it out on the slideshow. So I just go through the questions on the slideshow. And then if you can't make the phone call, no big deal. It'll be posted in the members area. The other thing that people worry about is that, okay, I trust I can do the SEO. I can do this other stuff, but how do I get clients? And I explained a little bit earlier how we get clients. But 8 out of 10 would close every time. Because it's a no-sell process, and if you personally don't want to make the phone call, this is the easiest sell, because you're giving away free leads. You're not selling for a telemarketer, and if you're from the States or not from the States, and I would suggest you start in the States with this business. Hire a telemarketer, an experienced telemarketer, which you can get from Odesk, no problem. For like $15-20 an hour. And this will be the easiest job probably she has ever had, because she doesn't have to like sell anything. She's just trying to give away something. Okay. Give away something. You got a lot of questions. No problem. Go to the website to check it out. And then we add that sense of urgency like I explained earlier. Don't know how to build a site? No problem. We use our Qzx WordPress theme. And it's the same one we use. And then I just threw this in, and I think it's because I go to so many masterminds. I just got back from one from Bangkok. I'm going to be going to another one during a winter break in Vietnam. They're just so important to meet people in your industry face to face, not in a selling pitch, but in just like best practices. What are you doing? And so I decided, you know what? I want to do that within the community. So I'm going to hold 2 live events. There'd be 0 selling, where I would just be talking about advanced techniques and the latest things myself and my team is doing. And then based on, we'll have a private Facebook group too. I didn't put that on. There's a lot of stuff I haven't put on here because it's a pre-sale. And then people that we see that are rising up and are kicking ass, we'll ask them to come to the event and maybe share what they're doing. So you're not going to see any like expert guru speakers. You're just going to see me and some other people within the community about how they're kicking some ass and the techniques that they're using. And that's it. And although I would encourage you to make it, the event won't cost you anything as long as you're a member, a current member. But there's nothing like meeting face to face. It's really, especially people that are like, you know, in the trenches with you. It's really important. I realize that camaraderie is like, you really need it. But so that's why I included those. So this is just unbelievable. This is easy that you can see why. No, maybe you can or can't, because I didn't do the best sales page or list everything out there. This is easily a $2,000 course on here. So just the next 2 hours. And then the price is going to go up, and then I'm going to close it down before December 1st, because we just got too much stuff going on to handle more members. A lot have already come on board for the pre-sale, and we want to make sure we can cater to those before we take on any more. And then I'm going to probably reopen it just for like 8 weeks, like I did last year, and it'll be at the higher price point on here. But this is it. If you come back after 2 hours. I'm gonna bump this up in price here, and then I'll close it before December 1st, and then after December 1st when it reopens, it'll be for the 2,000. So that's what you get if you're an existing Pay-Per-Call Ninja member. This is the lowest price you'll ever see. So please don't contact our support and ask for a lower price. It's you know. For $197, you wouldn't even learn how to get in the Google 3-pack. Are you kidding me? Getting it into the Google 3-pack is like, you don't. The algorithm to get up there and to rank in there has almost zero to do with backlinks. By the way, okay, just letting you know. So that's it. All right. So I'll go back to the questions. I should probably, if you haven't already seen the link there, I should probably put the link in. Oh, dum. Okay, now I know it is past my bedtime. There we go. Okay, here we go. Put this in here. I'll get back to questions. I'll go through them all. Bam. Okay. Oh, and I did promise the other thing, which was the replays. So let me put the replays in. Love the mindset vids. Thanks, Dee. I appreciate that. My goal is to put out one mindset video a week because I really enjoy doing them. So I've got another one coming up for this week. So take a look at those. They're actually a lot of fun to do, and it's just what I'm learning myself as I grow as a person. Okay, so here's the other one. This second link is for, because I promised some of you at the beginning of the call this, so I want to make sure I follow through with that. Can I type and talk at the same time? Probably not. Okay, so this one is for the replay. If you have not seen the replay 1 and 2, and then if you want to watch this replay will be up. Give me 24 hours to get it up there. It'll be on this link too, so I'll send it out right now. Did I get the right one? Looks like it. Okay. Back to questions. Here we go. Rock and roll. Okay. Where did I leave off of? You have a super strong mindset. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'll provide the replays and the slides. I just put that link in there. Bob, can you supply us with a good AdWords teaching course? I will put the way we do AdWords, which is totally kick-ass, in the course, but it won't be available right away. You're going to need to give you some weeks in order to get that in. Because the Google AdWords is like, to create a course from somebody who's never done it to how we do it, that's quite a long course. So that'll take me a little while to put that together. But I will put that in the members area. So that will be something that everyone can look forward to. I will constantly be adding content and what we're doing. And AdWords is definitely it. Because what's so powerful about the AdWords is that if you figure out the AdWords, and this is where picking the right niche and making sure that you can charge at least 4 to 5 times the current price, the average price for the Google pay-per-click, which is what I talked about in the first video. That's where that comes into play. It's so important. It's so they can set you up for long-term success. Let's say that you got the Google AdWords campaign figured out for a particular niche in one city. That same campaign theoretically should work identically in every city in the United States. And then you can really start to scale out really, really fast. Okay. Let me just keep going down here. Would it help to apply these strategies to high domain authority sites like Tumblr? Yes, we talked about the Web 2.0, so it would, and I actually show you inside the course how to get and how to find and claim sites like Tumblr and Weebly that are very high authority for yourself, so that you have full control over it. And then you can do the linking exchange with those, with the group, with other members. Phil asking here, are you doing 3,000 single location sites or the multi-location sites? Those are now multi-location sites. So what he means by that is that, let's say you were building out a niche for cash for cars. That's something that's available, at least in the United States, in all cities. So we would do one domain, and then we'd build out that same domain, and it would have multiple cities on it. So we would hang on, Houston, Dallas, Austin, Miami, Orlando, Seattle, Boise, Phoenix. All these cities would be on the same site. And the reason we do that is because it's actually more efficient. Because there comes a certain point where, as you start to gain number one rankings in like 4 to 5, 6 cities, Google starts to recognize that for some reason, at least in their current algorithm. And when you go beyond that, they tend to rank you pretty easily. They've already trusted you, right? Okay. Are you still building local rent sites? That's all I do, Mario. That's all I do, buddy. What would you do if you want to rank for multiple keywords, Amy? So if you want to rank for multiple keywords in the local, that's a good question. In the local niche market, okay, it's so For most niches, I would say for at least 80% of the niches that are out there, and this is local, right? We're not talking about e-commerce or affiliate site or anything like that. But for local niche, like a chiropractor, a particular service, they only have a very few keywords, and it's usually something like it describes the service plus a city name. Or there might be a slight variation. So to kind of stay congruent with the examples that I was giving tonight for the cash for cars. So cash for cars would be one keyword. Cash for clunkers, whether it's the word for, F-O-R, or the number for, or we buy cars for cash. Those are basically kind of the keywords. There's usually around 4 or 5 others total, and they're all very similar. They're all going to have they're all going to have really similar keywords in them. And as long as you're ranking for the top ones that have the most searches, and as long as the on-page SEO is how I described, Google will figure out the other slight variations for it. And I'm not the only one for that. There's case studies out there of sites that only have that basically for every one link that they have, which is not even an exact match keyword anchor text at all, for every one anchor text that they get back, and a lot of them are just the name of the site or just a click here, they're ranking on average for 14 different keywords, because Google pulls off of what's the relevancy of where the site or the link's coming from, and what's the relevancy of what's on your site. Okay. It's actually a lot. The short of it is it's a lot easier to rank for multiple keywords. But if the keyword is really different, so if you have like a computer repair type site, then you would have maybe your homepage would be like computer repair. That would be this core element keyword, and then the slight variations of it. But then you would need to have a separate page for something like data recovery. Data recovery is a completely different thing, or laptop windshield, or laptop monitor repair, something like this. That would be completely different. It's not the same. I go over that in the first webinar. How do you handle brand anchors if your brand name is a keyword optimized like Miami Plumbing Pros? That's a dangerous one, John. That's a good question. This is how I would handle it. I would be, if you already have Miami Plumbing Pros up right now, if Miami Plumbing Pros.com is your website, I would think about changing the name of your company, basically, on that to something that doesn't have plumbing in it. And I would go at it like that and treat that as the branded name. Because if you start doing the branded name as Miami Plumbing, even with the pros at the end, it's going to be too spammy. At least these days. A couple years ago, you could get away with it. These days, it's just too risky. Do you send lots of branded anchors to inner pages? Good question. I'll go over that. How we do. There has to be a whole new training on how you do the private blog networks, the Web 2.0s, all this kind of stuff. So it's a really, really kind of vast topic. But to answer your question, the general rule is 20% of our links are going to our inner pages and 80% to our homepage. Can you steer us in a good AdWords teaching course? I think I have the best one in my head for what we do for local. I don't know anyone else in the world who's doing it the way we are. So if you get the course, you will get access to it eventually. Do you use content curation for your sites? No. We don't. We don't want to take any risks there. So what we do is We always have, and I went over this on the on page, which is the second webinar. On page SEO is 100% original content, and it's got to be good stuff. Okay, Google's really getting smart about that. Their end goal is that when someone types in a keyword, darn it, they want to give them the best possible result that they can. And you and I both know that they have a bagillion sites they can choose from. So they're only going to stay in business if someone types in something, and they're pretty darn good about it, right? I mean, they're almost kind of creepy good at it, because we all use it and we all search for various things. So no, you want to make sure you got good, really good content, not curated. So I'm not against curated content. Okay, it works, and there's plenty of sites out there that are monster sites that are using curated content, but that's not the business we're in. We're in for local business, so it's a little bit different. Okay, I know you said that you replace the logo with the clients. We don't always, but our theme allows to do that when the clients ask for it. Do you also use some of their pictures, etc.? We don't, unless we have a really big client, because my whole deal is that I want to scale. So I talked about this in the when we select a niche. It's all about, can we scale this, and we avoid stuff like seasonal niches and personalized niches that need to be personalized. Because then it's really hard to scale the business. If I want to get out to 25 cities, but then I got to stop and personalize each one of them with the local business. I mean, you can do that and you can do good. It's not going to mean you're going to fail. It's just, for my mindset, it doesn't fit the whole. I want to stamp this out and make it scalable. Either business model would work. I just don't do what you're suggesting. Doesn't mean it wouldn't work. Do you ever use negative keywords? No. Okay. Are you linking from private blog networks only with long tail anchor text or nearby keywords? Thanks. No, I think I answered that. What if you already have a spammy URL like attorneysmiami.com? That's okay. Keep it. Just make sure that you probably already have more anchor text than this, but try not to have more than one Attorney Miami anchor text going back to your site, and then try to come up and put it on your website a different name that doesn't have attorneys in it and doesn't have Miami in it, so that you have some kind of brand you can do for the 50% of the links on that. That's the best way to handle that. Upgrading to the newer version from the previous, is the upgrade available first? Keith, best way to do that would be to contact our support. So Keith asks on your question there, contact support, and that's support.calzy.com. I'm sure you know that. 50% of what? 50% of your total leads, of your total anchor text, not leads, but your total anchor text should be the name of your company. If your company was Best Buy, then 50% of your anchor texts are Best Buy. Main keyword percentage, less than 1%. I'm saying just once. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get one really good one. Boom, you're going to nail it to your site. We're talking local here. And then you get some pretty decent ones and a good backlink distribution after that, and some social signals. You're probably be ranking where you need to. And that's all you need. Yeah, but good question. So I don't want to confuse anybody, but you have 5 keywords. So you choose your one keyword. And in the course, I give through 2 case studies where I go step by step. They're very long. It's like each video is like a half an hour, unfortunately, but I just want to make sure that you can look over my shoulder and see step by step of exactly how to do this. It's so important. Doing the keyword research, getting your 5, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 6 keywords, but around that range. They usually all have very similar words in them. Let's see if I can. I don't even know if I have it up anymore. Let me just see if I've got an example here. Look in this. Recently opened. Yeah, I don't have the text open or available. Otherwise, I'd show an example right now. But so if you had like a this is all I can think of right now. Is like a plumber Phoenix. You don't need to be worrying about ranking for plumbers in Phoenix or plumbing Phoenix or plumbers in Phoenix, Arizona. Google can figure it out from the main one that would have the most keywords in it, which would be plumbing Phoenix. I hope that makes sense. That was 4 keywords. You just have one anchor text back, but Google will figure out the other 3. What about buffer sites for keywords? Yeah, you could do tier 1 and tier 2. A lot of work though, man. And it doesn't fit the streamlining model. But the tier 1s and tier 2s do work. I find it better that if you've got the good quality links coming in, you got your good on page, that you don't need to mess with the tier 1s, tier 2s, and tier 3s. I honestly think people, I don't want to totally dismiss those. But sometimes I think that, because we don't actually use them in our business. So, but I haven't tested them, and I can see theoretically where they'd have some value. But I think sometimes people just kind of make things more complicated than they need to be, just to sell you something. I don't know. Are these percentages site-wide or on the page? These are site-wide. Good question. How many total links minimum? Hey, man, you might find 1 link is enough. Once you're ranking there, you're good. It's a very low maintenance at that point. Very low maintenance. So let me try to answer that a little bit better. So let's say for kind of an easy mediocre, which is the way that I teach for getting your first niche sites out there. Somewhere between maybe like 5 to 20 links and maybe 1 power link, as I described earlier. So that's not that much. Okay, so anchor text rule. How do people rank their videos using a percentage? Yeah, Jim, video is completely different. So like local ranking for a site is different than local ranking for a video. The algorithm is different, which is different for ranking for a Google Maps, which is going to be completely different. The algorithms are completely different for ranking video in, say, like Australia or even Canada or even the UK. It's just different everywhere, and it's different within it. So what I was talking about was just a site, not a video. If you develop a site at first, you would not have to brand it anchor text for the business you want to send leads to. Do you change the link later once you decide who to send the leads to? No, Richard, that's a good question. I don't want to confuse anybody or have anyone else confused with that. So basically, what Richard is asking here is that if you develop a site, right, and you have a branded anchor text, say that it's guys buy car, guys auto. And then you get a client that's in that same niche, but their name is, we buy clunkers. Are you going to change that anchor text to we buy clunkers? No, because you're already ranking on page 1, so you keep your anchor text the same, and your site would stay the same too. But if you change to the logo, which Google can't read the logo okay, and you can do that in our themes. Then you could change the logo if you wanted to, although I wouldn't even offer it to them because it's just another step, another thing you have to do when all they want is the phone calls, okay? I hope that makes sense. Google loves curated info and outbound links. Yes, I totally agree. So that's why I talked about the sites that you get your links from. The outbound links better be to relative stuff like what's going to you. So if you got a dog site about shepherds, man, that site that you're getting a backlink from better be going to other dog sites too. And curated, yes, I got nothing against curated, which I mentioned earlier. We just don't do it. We just want like the most juiciest, real, original type content. I guess we could do curated, but we don't. I'm just telling you what we do. I'm not saying curated is bad. Do you lose link juice with outbound links? And should they be in a reference page on the homepage? CJ, that's a good question. You know what? No one really knows, but based on what's out there now, Google wants to see some outbound links. They want to know that you're part of the community. Okay, that you're interacting with your blog comments, that you're that you're referring other good neighbors and stuff. Okay, so it's just natural. That's what every site does. So no, I don't think you would be unless you got really crazy with it. And there are some really, we don't get crazy geeky with it, but there are definitely some, I won't call them crazy geeky, but passionate SEO enthusiasts that have really strong arguments that there is no such thing as losing link juice for sending outbound links. But I would say no. We do that. It's part of our strategy. We're going to have some outbound links to like some news and something that's relative that would be realistic to our users. Okay. Angelina, I put the link in for the replays for 1 and 2. If you didn't get it, just ask for it again down below, and I will definitely put it in. Would you include the geo modifier in your main keyword? Example, cash for cars, Los Angeles. Okay, Stacy, great question. So let me grab a drink of water here. Alrighty, so Stacy asked a good question. Would you add a geo modifier, which is just a fancy word for saying, would you slap the name of your city next to your keyword? So if your keyword is cash for cars and you had your site in Los Angeles, would you put cash for cars Los Angeles? That depends on which one gets more searches according to Google. So if I go into Google Keyword Planner and I type in cash for cars, and then my map in Google Keyword Planner is set for Los Angeles, and then I also type in the keyword cash for cars Los Angeles, and cash for cars gets more searches, then I don't need to put the modifier in there. And 9 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times, the cash for cars will get a higher searches for people searching within your IP address, and they don't put the modifier on it. And the reason that's changed over the years is that people have gotten smart. They're like, when I'm searching for something locally, I just realized that I don't need to put in my city name anymore. I can just type in what I'm looking for, and Google will miraculously show me only in my area. How do they know that? Because they can track your IP address. They know where you are. And they're spying on you and collecting all your data and selling it for billions of dollars. And they know all the porn sites you see and everything that you go to. All that stuff. So, yeah, people are figuring out that they don't have to put the modifier in there. So that's why the change in the search engines has gone. So it's really easy. I mean, Google's going to see on your website the way we teach you how to lay it out. Hey, you're going to have a Los Angeles address there for your business address, and you got a backlink coming for cash for cars. Google's going to figure it out. This is for cash for cars for Los Angeles. No problem. This is for cash for cars in Los Angeles. They're going to figure it out. This is for cash for cars in Los Angeles, California. If someone types it in, you're going to show up. You see what I mean? They're a lot smarter than than we give them credit for. Can you cover do follow and no follow links? You got to have a mix of both. If you only had do follow, it's just not natural. You got to have a mixture of both on that end of it. So on that, your majority is do follow, but you got to have some no follow. Links from home page to your money site homepage, question mark, Larry asks. Links from your homepage. Okay, so my homepage to your money site homepage. It's really a link. It doesn't need to be, Larry, a link from a homepage to a homepage. It's just a link to from sites that, at least from the power link perspective, meet the criteria I talked about earlier. And that doesn't have to be a home page. That just needs to come from any page within a site that meets that criteria, right? The trust flow, the domain authority, and the page authority. And the other factors too about the backlinks and stuff like that I mentioned. That's for the power links. And 80% of the links that we follow go to our homepage and 20 to our inner pages. Is this per city page? Yes. Or on a worldwide site, per site, and the city's piggyback. So, Chris Lee, good question. Yeah, the way that we do our sites, I guess, we call them, kind of master sites, and that's where we'll have one site. We'll start out with it. It'll be, like maybe www.webuyclunkers.com, and we'll rank that initial root domain, say for Houston, Texas, and then once we have it ranking, then we'll add another page to it. So it'll be www.webuyclunkers.com, right? /Austin, and then we'll put up another homepage for Austin, and then we'll have original content in Austin. It will not be the same homepage as for Houston. And then we'll just keep growing out like that. So it'll all be off of the same route. And so I guess you could go worldwide with that, but we haven't with a master domain. But there's plenty of cities in the U.S. that you could grow that off of. If power links to 5% anchor text, then which type of links for the remaining backlinks? That would be stuff like when you're kind of going through trying to find your power links, because they're going to be kind of hard to find. Let's be honest about it. They're not going to be a ton of them out there. You're either going to have to build them yourself, or you're going to have to find them. Then the ones that meet some of your criteria could be for your other anchor text. Certainly your blog comments would be for your company name and stuff like that. And then some of the Web 2.0 properties, they're not going to meet all the criteria. So those are going to be some of the other 95% of your anchor text. Please explain citations. Citations, CJ, are like Yelp, Yellow Pages, Dexnose, Thumbback. If you just Google, the top 20 citations for local businesses, you'll get bigillion searches on that results. But citations are local listings. What if I wanted to sell a site to an investor? How could they continue to use the Qzx system? Depending on the price and stuff, we can just make arrangements to turn the whole system over to them if they want to do the whole tracking and stuff like that with the phone number. Which, if you had the site sold and you had the citations up, you want to have the address, the name, the address, and the phone number all the same, right? NSP is what they call it in industry. Then as part of the sale transaction, you would have the Qzx membership transferred over to them as well. What about social bookmarks? We stopped doing social bookmarks just to experiment, and we didn't know any difference in our rankings. So we just stopped doing them. And that's where we are with it. But we do stuff, we did ramp up our retweets and our Facebook alike. So we still have the social aspect in it. But I don't think what you're talking about, like Social Monkey and other those sites out there. Yeah, social ARD. Yeah, exactly. There's a second question. It's a good one. Yeah, we stopped using like the social ARDs and the social monkeys, not because it was hurting our rankings. It just, we found out we didn't feel like it was from our data that was doing anything. So we just stopped it. With the Qzx, can we get power links done for me? We don't offer that service. I apologize. That's just not a part of our business model. But we do inside the course. I've got I don't like to reveal it publicly, but I've got so I'm not going to, so please don't ask, but I've got a source, not just a small source. It's over 60,000 sites, so it's a lot. And you can go through them and search by all the criteria I talked about: PageRank, domain authority, page authority, and then whatever it's themed by. So if you're in the the law niche or whatever niche you're in locally, there'll be sites in there under the criteria that you could find for a power link. If I'm creating a Web 2.0 backlink, how many can I put on each 2.0 page? It's a good question, Dave. The way that I go over it in the course is we mix it up. So it's not like every single article that you post on a Web 2.0 has an outbound link going to it, because that's just not natural. If every single post you had went out and was going outward to link someone else with a keyword, that just doesn't look cool. So you're going to have some that don't. You're going to have some that just go out to like a news site or an authority site, and then one that goes out to maybe your site, and then maybe another one that you do a link exchange with one of the members. And so that's how that works. So how many backlinks are safe from the same PBN? That's a debatable question. We've determined that 20 is pretty safe. That's 20 outbound links to 20 fairly similar links. And that's considering the site looks real, which I go over in detail on how to do that. And some of the articles, which are good articles, don't have any outbound links. And some of them have outbound links going to authority sites like Wikipedia, CNN News, Google News. Okay? So it looks very natural. That's the goal. Okay. And then we figure that 20 is pretty darn safe. And just to kind of give you an idea, within our own Qzx private blog networks, we go all the way up to 50 backlinks. But what we're recommending for the community is only 20. And actually, it's 19. It's one going to your site, and then 19 that you exchange out. Just to be ultra conservative, as long as everyone else is following the brief criteria I just laid out. How long before we can rank a site to sell your call? It all depends, Jim, on the niche, of course, and the competition. The point is that you do the steps correctly, knowing that you're investing, you're like building an asset, you're building a property, and once it's up there on page one, and that property starts to, it doesn't even need to be on page one. The example I gave to you in the beginning of the call, which was like, whoa, maybe like 2 hours ago. Yep, exactly 2 hours ago, was it was $2,663 or whatever, bought in October. That was 4 sites in the bottom of page one, and then hover on the top of page 2. So depends on the niche. Nowhere, anywhere in here have I said anything about speed. It's about doing it correctly. But a time frame, depending on the niche, should be maybe 4 to 8, 10 weeks. It depends on how competitive the niche is, but somewhere around then there. Okay. Will we be able to shop Qzx PBMs for relevant links? Yeah, the way we're going to do that, that's a good question. So let me just repeat the question in case I said it too fast. Will we be able to shop the Qzx private blog networks for relevant links? Within our Exchange link community, it's going to be originally it will start out on Facebook. So you'll make a request out. And you want to be kind of broad in your relative links. Okay. Don't get, and I'll talk more about that in the course, but you don't want to get, like every single backlink has to come from a dog site. It doesn't need to be. It can come from a National Geographic site. It can come from any kind of wildlife, community life. It could come from a fish life. It could come from a pet shop type store. You have to kind of broaden it out a bit. And then you're going to have links that are not that relative to your site, and that's natural, and that's normal too. But your power links for your one or two main keywords, those need to be reserved for being extra careful with. Chris V, that will be December 1st. I'm out of the U.S. Aruba. I was discounted for a time. Please provide a link so I can review this, please. I think I provided a link earlier, but if you need another one, you may want to contact our support. Let me just put that in here one more time. Members dot pre-sale. So let me send that out. And then if anybody has any particular questions for our support, let me just put our support in here. No one's asked for it, even though we got some rave reviews earlier for it. Thank you so much. Support.qzx.com. Okay, continue with the questions. And yes, we still have lots of people on the call, so no cool there. When I find a good PowerLink site and I have 50 cities, same niche, can I use 50 different pages? Richard, that's a great question. We go over that in the course, but basically what the strategy is that we use, and it's kind of based off of, we've kind of discovered there's kind of this tipping point. Once you've kind of done your hard work and you've kind of proven yourself to Google that you're kind of a franchise type of website, you're ranking well in 4 to 5 to 6 cities on page 1. The rest of the cities tend to kind of get up to page 1 a heck of a lot easier than the first 7 did. And so with that, the way that we design our sites, the on-page SEO for the multi-link, for the multi-location sites, is such that the link juice to like a home page or one home page can be shared with others. It can kind of link through if a spider were to follow it. Based on the results, that's what's working for us. So we don't need to treat it like an individual site every time. Carolyn asks, do you ask them to prepay? Currently, yes, we've completely, as we've evolved over the past 5 years, we ask our clients now almost exclusively all to prepay. And that's just the way we roll now. We've got customer testimonials. We've got proven we're only in 2 niches. We're kind of the experts in those 2 niches. Well, not kind of, we are, as far as delivering, live leads. And so we have no problem asking for them to pay up front. And then they can log into the back end, it gets deducted, and everyone's fine with it. So it's no big deal. In in the beginning, if a customer's like really nervous, then we always offer a money back guarantee because we know that our leads are good, because we have a proven track record, right? Is your cold calling done by you guys in the Philippines? We actually hire out somebody to do our cold callings within each country that we're in. And we just find that that's better just for the little nuances and stuff. And it's because the selling process is really not a selling, it's a kind of a giving away process. They're just getting some free leads, but we're making sure in the process that they're not just tire kickers, that they're once we go beyond the 7 days, as long as they're happy, that they're going to become, we want to build a lifelong relationship with them. Do we get the video that we send to the clients? You can use our video. That's not a problem. We'll provide that in the course then. If we join, do we get access to templates of the pages you send prospect? Yes, you get all of our templates. Is there a script for cold calling? We have a script, yes, but it doesn't need the thing behind it is not the wording behind it, but the person saying it really needs to feel and understand what we're offering is so amazing that the other person would really feel, kind of ridiculous in not getting it. Okay. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's not the mechanical scripting behind it. It's the belief behind it that really is going to make the sale happen. Cool. Thank you, Andrew. I think here's another one. Keith writes in, I think your support is superior to all others. Thank you so much for that. So we got a couple of random testimonials about our support. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking, oh geez, they're just going to leave us hanging and there's no support, that's not the case. Our actual support system, our people that run our support desk, I say people that have different job roles and duties within the company, so they fully understand what's going on. So they're not, in other words, they're not trained to be support people. They're trained for various jobs and aspects within the company of mine, and therefore they're automatically are more than qualified to answer any questions that you may have. And if they don't have the answer, then they come back to the team members and ask them. I've got 34 employees, so there's plenty of people to ask if they get stuck. Let's see here. Harris asks in here, is this the same as Pay Per Call Ninja? No, it is extremely different. So Jason asks, is Skype still your top recommendation for the fallback primary overflow number, or do you recommend something else? That's a good one. So what that means is that, let's say you're just getting a site, started to rank. You need some place for those numbers to go to, because even if you're on page 4 or 5, you're still going to get phone calls. And as you kind of work your way up to 3 and page 2, you're going to get more and more phone calls. So where do you want to send those phone calls? I've always suggested send them to a Skype, and I still recommend that, except one of the to-do things to do, because we want it in our business too. I don't have it in my business, but I do want it. Is I just want a Twilio number that I can send it to a voicemail box there. It just makes it easier. It's just kind of within the family rather than going with a Twilio number and a Skype number. So, but either one's pretty much the same. PayPal. I guess use not, but we are seeing. Yeah, Chris B, as far as your questions about PayPal and refunds and chargebacks and stuff like that, those things only happen when you don't have clear communication with your customers from the beginning and the onset, and you don't have a clear support desk and clear communication and stuff like that, and then they don't have nothing else to do except for, instead of contacting you for a refund, then they contact PayPal, and PayPal, they can't get a refund, so they have to do a chargeback, and that's where you get in trouble. But missed calls would not earn money for me under a minimum time, Larry. Yeah, if you had a minimum time, missed calls wouldn't, but your client needs to be aware of the missed calls because they're missing out on money. You're missing out on money if that's the way you have your system set up. Then it's a lose-lose for everybody. And it's a win-win for everybody if it's tracked and the missed calls, and then the clients get an SMS message, a text message to their cell phone when they get a missed call. In other words, hey, dummy, you just missed a phone call. It's right here sent to your text box. Hit the click now, call now button and give them a call back and try to make that sale so that you know, I'm charging you for it and I'm hoping you get a sale for it as well. Can I do the Google 3-pack without a postcard? Yes. That's a good question. Is based in the U.S. Yeah, it's only based in the U.S. That's the only way that's the only way we know how to do it. Fred, is in the U.S. But I would suggest that you grow your whole business within the U.S. to start out with. It's the most prosperous place to be in right now, and I'm not in the U.S. I haven't been in the U.S. since 2009, and I would say 80% of my business is in the U.S. So, case in point. Okay. Can you explain how the dynamic phone number insertion works? Stacy asks. Okay. So, yeah, that's one of the features I didn't mention on there, but I guess you saw on the sales page, is basically how that works. The simplest way to explain it is that when somebody, let's say you've got a client and you've got leads coming in from a YouTube channel, you've got leads coming in from your site, you've got leads coming in from a Google AdWords campaign with a dynamic phone insertion, which is a plugin that my team created for me. You can tell where the lead came from. Did it come from your Google AdWords? And if so, which one of your Google AdWords? Did it come from another source? Then you can tell. Okay. So it allows you to tell where the lead came from which advertising source. Cool. Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it. Do you advise on landing pages? Yes, in our course we do. Assuming you have a model contract for us to use with clients, is there provisions for adding clients to a niche if one client can't handle the calls? We don't get that technical with our clients and our relationship with them. We don't really have a contract. What we have is an agreement. This is what it is per lead. This is how you're going to be billed. This is what we expect from you. But we don't have anything like, no, we don't do anything like that. We just move forward and kick some ass. Does any of the SEO tonight apply to affiliate marketing? Yeah, I would say a lot of it would apply to affiliate marketing as far as particularly with the looking at your really, the characteristics of a really good backlink. Do you have a system to generate reviews? Says Lynn. We do, and it's going to be with our private Facebook group, with our link exchange group. The best for generating reviews is going to be generating within the community. I don't trust buying them from anywhere on that. But if everybody in the community is trained on how to do it, and you contact someone from within the community and say, hey, I'm looking for a review. If you give me a review, I'll give you a review. And then some other guys say, hey, no problem, I'll give you a review if you give me a review, and we're all doing it and following it the same pattern in the way, then we're all going to be fine. Where will we be purchasing high trust age domains, and how much will they be paying for? John asked. So that would be for high trust age domains. This would be for a private blog network. You're gonna spend for a good one, you're gonna spend around $40-$60. Boy, I got a lot of questions here, and my voice is starting to die. Let me skim through these, and because I've been yapping here for an hour, or 2 hours and 20 minutes. So let me try to condense these down. Okay. Is the Qzx theme the same as in PaperCall Ninja? CJ, no. It's different. Neil says, you said to concentrate more in the U.S. for any reason. You don't have to. It's just a larger buying market there, that's all. So there's just more cities with the same niche that you can duplicate in that I found in other parts of the world. How different is this in the PaperCall Ninja? 100% different. Stephen come in and ask for $50 refund. Yes, Rick, it's all WordPress themes. We only use WordPress themes. What is the other cost of doing this business? Len asked. I mean, for backlinks, private blog networks, hosting, outsourcing it, if you hire it, so I would have some, at least some minimal amount of extra cash because you're running a business here. Nothing like, running like an Amazon store or something like that where you have to, buy, thousands of dollars of inventory, but, a few extra $100 you want to have around. Link in the chat box. Okay. That in. So I'm going to start heading out here. So I'm going to put this last link in here. And then I'll be taking that site down here pretty darn soon. Let's see. members.chris.me/pre-sale. Okay. So I'll send that out. So this is it. Yep. We've got about another hour and 37 minutes here. And then this price goes up. And then the end of the month, I'm actually going to close it because we're too busy with the current members that we have now and the few that we'll get later today and then for the next hour. So I'll raise the price. We'll get a couple more there, and then that's it. We'll close it up for a while. We want to make sure we can take care of everybody. And as you've seen by the chat box, we've gotten anonymous, just random people claiming how good our customer service is, and we want to maintain that. So now's your time to get into this. If you're even a current pay-per-call Ninja member, this is completely different on here. Steve, just relax. Just call our customer service. We'll take care of everybody. No problem. Okay, let me what are the costs associated here? Thank you. Yeah, what a steal exactly. Okay. George, yes. For a complete newbie, how realistic? It's a good question. So for a complete newbie, how realistic is it to start earning some months start earning some income between 3 to 4 months? I think if you worked really hard at it and you stayed focused on it, it's extremely possible. Do you utilize something like WordPress Infinite to track, update, and manage your sites? We don't, but you could. Okay. Just going through the questions. I'm going to try to summarize this. Okay, let me see if I can find right link for the replays. Hold on here. Maybe it's replay. Yeah, that's it. So let me go ahead and put that in the chat box. Apologize for that. So here's the replay link, the correct one. That one works because I just did it. I just copied and pasted it, and that's it. Okay, what else do I got here? Steve here, how's the course structured? The vast majority of the course is accessed immediately. Some will be dripped out. Do you need these 20 links for each city page? No, not at all. That would be way too much for the majority of local sites. You just need a couple links from a private blog network. How long does C take rank? Definitely more than 2 weeks. 1 month plus, easily. What software program do you use to see how the keywords for dentist ranks in your site area, Dallas, but are not located, and doing search in Chicago? We just use Google Keyword Planner. Press releases work, Phil, they definitely work, but where they get screwed up is that people try to use their main keyword in the press release. So when we do press release, you just use one of two keywords: your company name, the branding, or a naked text. That's it. And then Google's cool with you. But you start trying to use an exact match domain for that 1% or 1, then you're hosed. Because then what happens is what you get, 100 or 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 anchor texts out there with cash for cars. Google's like, screw you. That's way too spammy, dude. Or chick or whatever. See what I'm saying? Okay. Alrighty. Cool. So I put the replay back in there. There's a lot of other questions here. I'm sorry I didn't get around to them, but I'm burning out here, guys and gals. I've been here for 2.5 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a wrap. And I will get the replay rendered and stuff. Give me 24 hours to do that. In the meantime, you've got the links for the other 2 replays. Thanks a lot for taking the time and the effort out of your day to join me. Take care. Bye-bye.